Hello and welcome everybody. Come in, get comfy. We're going to kick things off in a minute. I'm just going to make sure we have everyone who has registered come on in. Let me know in the chat. I'm just going to open the chat up on the side. Let me know in the chat where you're from. So, what town you're from. And also, I really like to know what practice area you're in. Everyone comes from a different practice area. And sometimes it's just great to see who I'm talking with. So let me know where you're from. I'm sitting right now on the Gold Coast, and it's a beautiful sunny day here. So I'd love to know where you're from. I've got lots of practical tools today, and powerful content to share. So I hope that you've got a pen and notebook handy. I've also got my team on here with me so they can alert me if there's questions, but we're going to be doing a Q&A at the end anyway. So think about your questions as we go. So this workshop is really about stepping away from being the bottleneck in your law firm, building a business that brings you profit and freedom, taking back control of your time and energy. I know law firms can zap your energy, that's for sure, and really growing a firm that can run daily without you. So I'd love to hear from you. Drop a yes if you're ready to start working on your firm and not in it. Drop a yes in the chat. Hi, Peter. Great to have you on the call. Let's get stuck in. So, first of all, I would love to ask you some questions about running a law firm. So, true or false, getting more freedom means taking on more staff and then ultimately having more overheads in your law firm. Is that true or false? I'd love you to drop that in the chat. My take on this is that it is false. So, freedom actually comes from structure, it doesn't come from head count. Some of the firms with the most owner freedom really haven't scaled their team to a massive size. They've scaled their systems. Growth and outgoings don't have to move together in order to get that freedom. So, more freedom doesn't automatically mean more overheads. It means a better structure around what you already have. Next question. True or false? Delegating means losing control of your firm. This is absolutely false. Delegating without structure creates massive risk. Delegating with clear systems and visibility actually gives you more control because you can see what's happening without being the one doing it. So, control doesn't actually come from doing everything yourself, it comes from being able to see everything even when you aren't there. I've got another one for you. True or false? You don't have time to work on your business right now. This is false. You don't have time because you're still working inside your business. You're probably lawyering, you're doing operations, you're doing all of the things. That's the exact cycle that we want to break today. The busier you are, the more that this matters, not less. The lack of time is a symptom, and we're here to fix that today. So, this is not a reason to wait until it disappears on its own because it's not going to solve itself. So, true or false? You should get things in order yourself before asking for help. This is false. This is usually the belief that delays action the longest. Most owners who say this have been getting things in order for years on their own, and it's the same chaos that they're dealing with daily. Support is what creates order, not what you need to have already achieved. If getting things in order alone was going to work, you probably would have done it by now, right? And true or false, this is our last one. Since you already understand the theory on what you need to do to build a business that doesn't rely on you anymore, you can implement it yourself without support. This is false because knowing what needs to happen and actually embedding it into your law firm that is a living, busy firm are two different things. Most owners already know what they need to do. So you probably already know what you need to do. You probably already know the things that I'm going to tell you today, but implementation is where it actually breaks down, not the knowledge. Knowing what you need to do isn't the bottleneck. getting it done while your firm is running and busy is. So it's not just time, it's not just team, or it's not even your crazy to-do list. The real problem is that you are at the center of everything. If your firm can't run without you, then you are the system, and that's not scalable at all. So that's what we're going to fix today. I want to look at a few issues that are going on in your law firms today. Maybe some of you can relate to these issues. If you can write the number in the chat, that would be awesome. So the first one is that it's not even 9 a.m. and you haven't opened your inbox yet. Somebody's already knocking on the door. Just a quick question. They just have something fast that they want you to respond to. The phone rings before you get to finish answering them. And by the time it is midday, you haven't even started doing what you thought you might do for the day. You feel like you've achieved nothing. Number two is that you have hired a great team, but somehow every decision is coming back to you and landing on your desk. What do you want me to say to this client? Are you okay to proceed on this basis? Can you just take a look at this before I send it out? So you've built a law firm that's relying on you for everything that happens. No one can make a move without asking you first, and it's exhausting. Number three is that you are stuck in the weeds. You know that you should be thinking about where the firm is heading and working on strategy and being the visionary. But really, it's there's no time for that because you're buried in files, you're working on client work, and you're putting out fires every day. Strategic thinking has become a quiet luxury that you just can't afford anymore. Number four is that the team's gone home. Every other light on the floor is off, and you're still there working in the office, and you're trying to finish what you didn't get done during the day because you've been interrupted all day, or you are taking work home, having dinner, and then logging back on after you've put the kids to bed. Another issue is that on paper, revenue might be up, but in reality, you're doing mental maths most weeks. You're looking at wages, rent, BAS, insurance, all due before you have even put your invoices out. So your firm can look really successful on paper, but it's still keeping you up at night. This is a big one for a lot of law firm owners. You've tried delegating everything, but by the time you've explained it properly, checked the work, and fixed what came back to you wrong, you may as well have done it yourself. You stop handing things over, and then the cycle starts again. This one is huge. You finally booked leave, but you spend the time on holiday checking your phone between meals, replying to staff from the beach, and you're half present with your family because you're really still running the firm and thinking about the firm while you're away. That's not a holiday. It's just actually working somewhere with better weather. Now, chances are, if you're anything like the law firm owners that I've worked with, at least one of these problems hits close to home for you. Maybe it's more than one. And maybe you're wondering if you're ever truly going to solve this challenge, if nothing changes. Because here's the truth. What you avoid will keep costing you your time, your energy, and your freedom in your firm. And it's also your firm's full potential. So the question really is, are you ready to do something different to get a different result? And the result could look like this. One where you have quiet mornings, your phone stays face down until you're ready to pick it up. No one's knocking on your door before 9 a.m. asking you for just 2 minutes of your time, and the first hour of your day belongs to you. So that's not a fantasy. That's actually what happens when your business stops running through you. The clients that call with tricky questions is handled by your team properly without it landing on your desk. You find out about it later, if at all, because it doesn't actually need to come to you. That's what a team looks like when they're actually trusted to run things. You've got thinking time about where your firm's actually heading, what to build next, who to bring in, or you take the afternoon off because the firm's not going to fall over if you're not in there. Either way, the choice is yours. So this makes it great. You leave before the day ends, and you're not going home to have dinner with the family and then picking up work afterwards. Not when the pile is finally gone, because there isn't a pile waiting for you anymore. So dinner happens and it's a nice end to the day, and that's it. You finally know your numbers and they don't scare you. Wages, rent, BAS, all accounted for because your firm is structured to be profitable, not busy. So revenue and peace of mind finally move in the same direction. You explain something once and it gets done without you checking or fixing it or redoing it. The difference between delegating and quietly just doing everything yourself. And clients trust the firm, not just the name on the door. So the firm is no longer all about you, which means the business can actually grow past your personal capacity as a lawyer because it was never meant to be limited by one person in the firm. And finally, you can go away on holiday with no checking from the pool lounge, your emails or phone calls. You're not half present in conversations with your family while you're still running the law firm in your head. And the business keeps working the whole time that you're away. And it's still working great when you get back. There's nothing major that you need to handle when you get back. Not only that, but you've actually made more money while you've been away doing nothing, which is awesome. Now, I'm not describing this because I've read it somewhere in a book. I'm describing it because this is my lived experience. I've lived every one of these slides. The negative ones where you feel like the firm is really hard work, and all of these ones as well. This was me in 2016. I felt really crappy about my law firm at the time. To be honest, I felt like I was probably failing a bit. We attracted difficult clients that did not value our work and constantly complained. I could not seem to retain good staff, and it felt like I just had to take anyone that applied, even if they weren't a good fit right from the outset. I was paying my junior lawyer more than I paid myself at this time. And when I went home each night, I was totally stressed out. I'd put the kids to bed and I'd keep working. And I really wasn't proud of where I was at this point in my life or in my business. I wanted more money because I was renting at the time and I really wanted to buy a house, and it was a struggle to get a loan. Being self-employed and getting a loan can be really hard, but I just didn't have the financial freedom. And I wanted flexibility because my kids were in after school care every day and in school holidays as well. I had created at this point in time a business that was literally sucking the life out of me, but I didn't want it to be this way. I made a decision at this point that something absolutely had to change. I decided I wasn't going to let my law firm run me anymore. And I needed to change the narrative so that I was in charge and I could rely on this firm for a great life in the future. I was done with overwhelm, endless hours, stressing, and being that one person that the firm relied on. At this time in 2016, I really didn't have all the answers, but I knew that I had to get really intentional. So I mapped out systems, I built a high performing team, and I created a firm that could thrive without me. None of this happened overnight, though. But this is what I help law firm owners build now. So this is a snapshot of what was actually happening in my firm in 2016. Our revenue was around 750 grand. The costs were around 630, and I had 5 staff. I was working probably more than 60 hours a week every week. Last year, I sold my firm and we were doing close to 3 million with a profit of about 1 million. I had 15 incredible team members. But the best part about all of this was that I was working 10 hours a week in the business. And what that meant is that when I sold, I could leave straight away. I didn't have to do an earnout or anything like that. What I built is exactly what I help law firm owners build now, and you can do it as well in your firm. So, a little bit more about me. I'm a lawyer, just like you guys. I founded Collective Family Law, and I've coached more than 300 law firm owners on how to scale and grow their law firms to where they want to be. We're also the creators of Law BizCon, so that's a conference where we help law firm owners with the business side of running a law firm. So I've walked the path from burnout. I really was very burnt out back in those days, to now helping law firm owners get to where they want to go faster. So in my firm, it's about your firm. It's all about building a business that actually works for you. So you might not want to do exactly what I did in mine. It's a pick your own adventure scenario. So whatever it is, but I know that most law firm owners were like me. They want more freedom and flexibility and more profit as well. And for me, what was really important is that I didn't want to be the last to be picking these kids up from school every day. I wanted to be there for my family, the birthdays, the school drop-offs, and all of that kind of stuff, and just be present, as well as have a great business. Because just knew that they would grow up really fast, which is exactly what did happen. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I absolutely love traveling. Hot air balloons over in Turkey, camel rides in front of the pyramids in Egypt, safari with my whole family in Tanzania. None of that happened by accident, and it couldn't have happened if my firm relied on me. So I built a firm that I could rely on. I needed real profit and real freedom from my law firm, not just for the appearance of it, but so that I could actually do some of the things that I really wanted to do. So I'd love to know from you what your reasons are that you want to build a law firm that doesn't rely on you. Maybe it's an exit in the future. Maybe it's a semi-retirement plan where you want to slow down, do less work, but still have as much money. Maybe you have young children and you want to be there for them like I wanted to be there for mine. I'd love to know in the chat what your reasons are. Everyone has different reasons as to why it's important to them. So after today, you won't just leave inspired, you're actually going to leave with some action that you can take. So by the end of the workshop, I'm hoping you're going to have clear, proven strategies that you can implement in your firm so that it doesn't rely on you. Fresh motivation to lead with confidence and an actual plan. So I'm going to show you something that is really going to help change the way that you run your practice. So I'm going to use a model and we're going to map it out together. So remember as well that this is your law firm. You might not want to grow as large as mine did. You may want to stay the same size, but enjoy more profit and more freedom, for example. Either way, no matter what you want, we want you to be the CEO of your firm, one that has choices, so freedom and more profit. It's really a pick your own adventure here. So, as I said before, what I wanted for you is a firm that doesn't rely on you. But here is what most law firm owners are dealing with instead: unpredictable income, putting out fires all the time. If you're honest, most days doesn't feel like you're leading. It feels like you're putting out fires, and it can be a real struggle with some of the stuff that we have to deal with. And all of these things can lead to burnout. And this is not a fun way to be running your law firm. So, what do we do instead? What we need is an automated flow of quality clients. What that means is that we have plenty of cash flow, one that we can turn on and off with a tap as we need more clients, so that we're no longer relying on that unpredictable income. We want a high performing team, one that we can rely on. And we want an automated firm. So we want to make sure that the firm can run without us. So if you look at this triangle and you take away any of these sides, it will collapse on itself. And that's exactly what's happening with most law firms right now. They're strong on one side and they might be missing another one of the sides or a couple of the pieces, and the whole thing is caving in on itself. So I've got a little exercise that I want to do with you. We're going to walk through what the 9 accelerators are across each of these 3 sides on a law firm and how we can get it to run without us. So the exercise is, if you've got a piece of paper, to write down whether you're a green. So if you're a green on any of these, you've nailed it. If you're an orange, you've got some elements handled, but it's not quite done yet. Or if you're a red, you haven't implemented this yet, or you don't really know how to do it. So, um, if you're ready, just grab your pen and let's go. So we're going to zoom in onto the side of an automated flow of quality clients. So this isn't just about marketing, it's about building an engine that runs without you and keeps delivering. So here's what fuels this side of the triangle. Having a brand authority in the legal industry and being seen as an expert in your niche so that you attract the right clients. That's number one. Number two is having an automated appointment engine. This is where quality prospects are booking into your law firm while you sleep. You're not chasing, you're not going backwards and forward, and best of all, you're not getting time wasters. I know as a law firm owner, we can spend a lot of time on the phone giving away free advice on time wasters who are never going to engage. So those people are eliminated. And lastly, being a conversion king. So your firm knows how to turn inquiries into clients with ease and clarity and confidence. You've got a really great conversion rate because you're getting good quality clients coming in. So this is how you stop relying on random referrals or word of mouth. And instead, you're starting to fill your pipeline on autopilot without you being needed. Now let's focus on the second part of the triangle, which is your high performing team. This is what takes you out of the day to day and makes sure that your firm delivers exceptional legal results without everything falling back on you. What does this high performing team need to look like? Well, it has to be low maintenance. So they are reliable, self-sufficient, and they don't need constant supervision. So this is removing a lot of the issues around you being in the center of that legal service delivery. Being a delegation pro in your firm, you can hand things off with confidence, knowing that the work gets done on time and right. And lastly, having smooth delivery of legal services without you. So clients are constantly impressed, systems are followed, and outcomes are predictable for your clients. So this is the team that supports your vision for your law firm so that you can lead at the top while your firm delivers the highest quality legal results. Now let's look at the last section of the triangle, which is your automated law firm. So these are the tools and systems that you and your team can rely on so that your firm runs like a well-oiled machine. So what does a well-oiled and automated law firm actually look like? Well, first of all, it's data driven. You know your numbers every single week and you make decisions based on them, not on gut feel and guesswork. You have an automated tech stack, the right tech saving you time and money, one that is great at creating efficiencies in your firm. And then finally, you have systems and processes installed in your firm. Your people aren't coming to you asking you what to do next because everything is a system and a process and it's documented. It's not out of your head. So it reduces a whole lot of that contact that they are constantly asking you questions for. So with these three levers in place, your firm becomes automated and efficient and more profitable and doesn't need you as much. So I don't know what yours looks like. Every law firm's looks different. This is an example of what it could look like. Before you judge what you're looking at, let's just reframe it. This isn't a report card. It's not a measure of how good a lawyer you are. In fact, or how hard you've worked. And in fact, most law firm owners are great lawyers, the best in the business, and they work exceptionally hard. What this is it's a diagnosis, and it's a diagnosis that is useful because you can clearly see what's going on in your firm, where you're strong and where you're not. Most law firm owners have never mapped it out like this before. What they do instead is they feel the chaos every single day, but they've never seen it laid out in front of them as to what's actually going on in their firm. So if you're looking at more red or orange than you would like to, that's not failure, that is clarity. It's clarity, and clarity is the whole point of what today is about. Given where you're at right now, would you say you're mostly green, mostly red, or mostly orange? Or maybe it's a mix. I would love to know where you're at. So, what's the real likelihood of you achieving your dream law firm and what you really want your life to look like? One that gives you more freedom and profit and purpose as well, if absolutely nothing changes. What we really have to think about is the awareness, and that awareness is the first step towards the transformation. So today, now that you've seen that whole picture, I'm going to go deeper on one of the sections. We don't have time to go in on all of these things. These are the things that we do in our accelerator program. We go through each of these and turn you green in your firm so that everything is working like a well-oiled machine. But today we're just going to look at the SOPs installed. We're going to take a closer look at that. So most law firm owners think that once they've bought a practice management system, so you've either got Clio or Leap or Action Step or Smoke Ball or maybe another one, they think that they've systemized their firm. But a PMS only ever does one job. It manages clients inside your software. That's it. It keeps everything in order. It doesn't tell your team what to do when a client complains. It doesn't tell them how to handle a request outside of business hours. It doesn't tell them how to answer the phone. It doesn't tell them what good looks like when they're doing something for the first time and you're without you in the room. That's not a technology gap. That's a missing operating system for everything else in your business. And it tends to show up in the same three ways in almost every law firm that I help. First, the systems that do exist only exist in the law firm owner's head. They're never actually written down anywhere that your team can rely on them. Secondly, even the ones that are written down still rely on you personally to run properly. Someone still has to come and check with you. And thirdly, and this is a big one, the tasks that are on repeat are the ones that happen the exact same way every single time, are never handed off. They keep landing on your plate. You just keep doing them yourself over and over and over because it was never turned into something else someone else can pick up. So, what SOPs installs actually fixes, not just documentation for the sake of it. It's getting what's in your head on how things are done in your law firm onto paper and off you personally so that your team can handle it. This is the holding it all in your head loop, and this is where we want to get you out of. This is a common scenario. So meet Sarah. She's a law firm owner. She's doing 750 a year with a team of four. She's got two lawyers and a paralegal and admin staff, but everything still runs through her. Team members are constantly asking her, can I discount this retainer? What should I do with this client who's upset? Can I take Friday off? How do I file this application again? And she's answering Teams messages at 10 p.m. She dreads going on holiday because she feels like things are just going to go off the rails. She's surrounded by people, but she just feels super lonely in this decision making of running her firm. The result is that Sarah is the bottleneck. The team appears busy, but the firm can't scale without her burning out. So here are the unintentional mistakes that Sarah has made. She's got no clear roles or ownership of the roles. Team members aren't sure what's truly theirs, and everything just floats back to her. There's a lack of systems and processes. So the staff have no framework to make their own decisions. The default is just go ask Sarah. And she's got inconsistent onboarding and training. She actually doesn't have time to train them. She gets them on and they just have to do their thing. But then the roles don't work out because they haven't been trained. And lastly, she's rewarding dependency. So the owner feels valuable by being needed. Solving everyone's problem just becomes part of her identity. And also putting out fires becomes part of her identity, which is not a great place to be. So what we want to do is actually fix this together now. I'm going to show you exactly how to map out a set of systems and processes I'm going to use an example of something that every single one of you deals with, no matter what kind of practice area you're in. We're going to work on the client journey from someone inquiring about your service right through to them signing a cost agreement and retaining you. So this is a super simplified version of the exact processes that we use in Accelerator. And I'm going to give it to you free today so that you can take it and go and use it in your law firm. So here's the structure. For every step in any workflow, there's only 3 things that you actually need to define. What has to happen, who does it, and when is it being done, or when is it done? So this is how work gets handed over. But nobody's defined the moment it's actually finished so that it just bounces back to you to check. So we want to avoid that. And this system is called the workflow blueprint. Something that's really important before we map it out, and this is a big shift for a lot of law firms, is don't build it around a person. You need to build it around the role. Even if you have that right person in that right role right now, it needs to be built on around the role. Most law firms build their process around their person. Let's say Tammy. Tammy knows how the intake works. Tammy handles the cost agreements. But the moment that Tammy's on leave or Tammy leaves altogether, the whole thing collapses and then lands back on you. Remember that the role is going to be there forever, but you're going to have different people over time sitting in those roles. So we need to build this around the client coordinator or the reception role, whatever you call it in your firm, instead of Tammy. And then it's going to survive every staff change that you ever have. So as I said before, this example is a workflow, and we're going to map it out. You're going to have tens, if not hundreds of these in your firm, but right now a lot of them are probably living in your head. This one here is specifically for the client journey as they engage your firm. So first thing is that the inquiry comes in and it goes to the client coordinator, and they log the basics and flag for qualifying. So that might be, for example, checking that you haven't doing a check on the system to make sure that you haven't already seen the other side or whatever it might be. And then next up, the inquiry comes. The person is the client coordinator, and we want to qualify that call. So we want to make sure that they're a fit for the firm, that they're not going to be a time waster. So for example, in family law, that could be that they're not a legal aid client or looking for legal aid. And that could be the same in whatever it might be in your practice areas. We need to make sure that they can pay their bills. And so the client coordinator is going to use a simple checklist, not a gut feel. They're going to be trained on this. And if they fit the qualifications, they will book them into a consultation in your law firm. Next in the workflow, the consultation is held. This is going to be any rostered on solicitor, not necessarily you in your law firm. They're going to be scripted, the consult notes are going to be done, and they're going to flag that and send that through with notes on what type of cost agreement needs to be sent out. We don't want your solicitors sending out cost agreements and doing that heavy admin work. It needs to be done by someone like the client coordinator or the receptionist in your law firm. They are going to draft the cost agreement from the instructions from the lawyer. It's going to be templated, of course, a precedent, and then sent out to the client with the automatic follow-up attached. The cost agreement is going to be signed, money's put in trust, and the client coordinator or receptionist is going to monitor that, follow up automatically behind the scenes. And once the client agreement has been received and the money's is put in trust, then you know that you have a client and they're going to do what they need to open the file and ensure that the matter is sent on to the lawyer and that the lawyer's next steps start to take place. So from here, there's a new workflow for what happens when the lawyer onboards a new client. If those workflows aren't built out, then your lawyer might just leave the client sitting there and might not get back to them, and then you might lose a client. So it's ensuring that you've got processes in place for each of these things. Notice what's missing from every single one of these steps, and that is you as the law firm owner. In this scenario, the law firm owner is not involved in any of the steps. Not because you don't care about your clients, but because none of these steps actually require you personally, not even the initial appointment if you've got other lawyers. They require roles that have been given to other people in the firm, and there's a clear finish line for when this workflow finishes. So with each of these steps, it's important to know that there are documented processes, systems, templates, and tech in place to ensure that each of these steps are done without you. And this delivers your client the best possible client experience, and you haven't been part of this at all. So that's one workflow example, inquiry to a signed costs agreement, but there are dozens of these running through your firm right now, whether you've mapped them out or not. The client journey right through to and service delivery. So it could be onboarding a new client, progress updates, handling a complaint, closing a file. And your financial team, your invoicing cycle, when to chase overdue accounts, when to stop work on a file, how to do your trust account reconciliation or audit at the end of the year. When it comes to team and people, it could be onboarding a new staff member, leave and cover arrangements, performance reviews. How do all those things get done? Marketing in your firm, it could be handling new inquiries, requesting a Google review, following up on a referral or a referral partner. In operations, it could be rolling out new software, compliance, CPD tracking, or your team meeting rhythms. Every single one of these is running in your firm today, but you might not have it mapped out, and it might be still living in your head or someone else's head, which is not a great way to be running the business. The whole point of everything we've mapped out is that every step has an owner, a clear handoff, and a definition of what's done that doesn't need you to be signing off on it. If you do it once and properly, that's what is going to make the change. You're going to end up with more time because nothing is landing on your lap by default. You're going to end up with more profit because nothing's slipping through the cracks and getting fixed twice. You're going to have happier clients because their experience doesn't depend on whether you personally happen to be free. And you're going to have a stronger team because everyone knows their exact roles and where they have authority instead of everything floating back to you. And because and a business that can actually scale. So you're going to have a law firm that can actually scale, not just a job that gets heavier the bigger it gets. And this isn't theory. Let me show you how this has actually worked with law firms that I have worked with. So this is the thing, these systems running through your firm, they are going to give you less interruptions and they're going to allow your law firm to run without you. All right, so very similar to Sarah, both of these firm owners had teams and they were really struggling with the teams. They were super high maintenance and they didn't know how to get their team to be autonomous, and they just relied on them for everything. But after implementing these strategies, they were able to step away from the business more and spend more time with their families. I'm most excited to share this one with you because I had lunch with this lawyer last week. And she was so excited. She's been in my program for about 2 years, and she was really excited to share her story with me and really how far she's come. So when I first met this client, um, she was waking up every single morning thinking about her junior lawyer and stressing about what was going to be on her plate or what she hadn't finished that the day before. She'd drop her daughter to school, go to the office, and she was also one of the last ones to leave most nights. And she was very, very stressed out. On top of that, she was consistently in court with the practice area that she was in, which meant she could barely had spare hours to actually work on the business. And she genuinely believed that because her practice area was criminal law, um, and it was very much all about her having personal referrals driven to her in her area of law, that everything would always have to come through her. She thought that her firm could never scale beyond what she could personally carry. So she had around 4 staff. She was doing around 500 grand a year. She'd been in the business for about 12 years. So it had been a long time where she had been sort of going through the motions and doing the same thing with the same results. Fast forward to today, and when we went and had lunch together last week, she was so excited to show me around her new office, which is actually amazing. And since she's been in my program, she's actually taken on 2 premises because she's had that much volume come through. She's now got 15 staff. She's turning over about $3 million a year. She's only working with clients that she really wants to work with, and she's leading the team, not carrying one. She's got there while she's been working in court and doing all of those things in a really demanding practice area. So if this client can do it in a niche where she was convinced every single client had to come through her personally while she was stuck in court, what is the things that you're thinking about and the reasons that you might not be able to do it? This isn't about having the perfect practice area or finally getting enough time freed up. This client didn't wait for either of those things. What she did do was build structure so that the firm could really run without her. So let's just pause for a second and look at everything that we've covered today. So we started out by asking some true or false questions about where you're at right now. And that more freedom doesn't necessarily mean more staff. Delegating doesn't necessarily mean losing control. And knowing the theory was never the bottleneck. We talked about the interruptions and being the one that everyone relies on, the delegation trap, and you being your own bottleneck. And then we painted the other side of what it looks like to come through and have a business that doesn't rely on you. Quiet mornings, a team that just handles it, being home for dinner, and having a holiday that's actually a holiday. I showed you a little bit about my own story from burnout and stressed out to working 10 hours a week in my business while I was building my second business, which is scalable law. And then we got into the actual model, which was the triangle that every law firm needs. So the quality flow of clients, the high performing team, and the automated firm. We dove into the 9 accelerators, and I've showed you how you can build out some systems and processes in your firm so that things don't run through you. Your team can pick it up and run with it themselves. So that is not theory. This is a real tool that's actually sitting in your hands right now. So what we want is we want you to stop being the system, and you need to build a system. If your team needs you to function, you don't have a business, you just have a job with assistance. So the shift is that we want to shift from being reactive to proactive, empower your people through structure, and let go so that you can grow your firm. One of the things is about your law firm is that a firm that relies on you, it's not just inconvenient. It's actually the bottleneck that's standing between you and everything else that you want. Do you see how one workflow mapped properly already can hand you back hours. So that's just one. You can see what becomes possible once it isn't just one workflow, but it's repeated throughout the business with all of the different areas. And remember, what you were honest with yourself about earlier, the real likelihood of whether you're going to change anything if nothing changes. So that's exactly what we want you to think about today. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat, whether or not, how did you learn to run your law firm? So one of the things about running a law firm is that we don't learn how to run it at law school. What we often do is we learn how to run it from our old boss, which we probably didn't like anyway. And then we come into our own firms and we learn through trial and error. And sometimes we're still trying to figure it out. So today, I hope that you have learned something. Would you agree that our time together has been well spent? And did you learn something today? I'd love to share with you this lawyer. This firm here took the leap and landed the most amazing opportunities in a fraction of the time if they'd done it all alone. So this lawyer was able to spend significantly a lot more time on her blueprint and straight into implementing systems. She became a better leader. She automated her marketing systems and she started growing a seriously good team. And in less than 6 months into the program, she hired a practice manager, which freed herself up from the daily operations of the firm. Out of the 9 accelerators that we talked about, which are the top 3 that you would love to master in the next 12 months? Because that's exactly what we focus on in Accelerator. So you can be our next case study who has an amazing story to tell me in 12 months' time or 24 months' time. Like, it's incredible when I think about my client who is the criminal lawyer, how much difference only a short 18 to 24 months can make in your life if you're just doing the right things in your firm. So in the next month, or this month, I'm bringing together only 8 law firm owners to help scale their firms into the businesses that can run without them, where we increase profit, give you more freedom and more peace of mind, less stress. So the program is called Accelerator, and it's designed to help law firm owners who are going from stuck and stretched into control, growing, and finally being able to step back. And I absolutely love onboarding new clients who really want to see those kind of results. Most law firm leaders like you are only a few key systems away from scaling sustainably with more freedom, better clients, and a team that you can rely on so that you can have those holidays and step away from your firms. So here's how the program works. We start with doing a growth strategy for your law firm, which is a one-on-one call, and then we reverse engineer your growth goals in your firm. Then we anchor your progress across the pillars depending on what your law firm is needing. So within 90 days, you're going to have massive traction. We're going to start seeing a lot more of those circles turning green. And during Accelerator, we work on all of these things until you, over time, move towards a green firm, one that you have dreamed of running, one that you can rely on rather than it relying on you. If you would like to find out more about the program and how it can help you, we offer a free growth call. Someone will drop the link in the chat. It's 15 minutes. You can talk about where you're red, where you're orange, and where you're green, and where you really need the most help so that you can start running a firm that doesn't rely on you. I want to make joining the program a no-brainer. Our promise to you is that if you turn up to everything over the first 30 days and you do not find that it's helpful to you, well, then you can leave with no issue at all. And not only that, but we will give you your money back. because I'm so convinced that if you turn up to everything and you implement what we ask you to implement, then you are going to get amazing results like these other law firm owners. So there's absolutely no risk to you to give it a go. The investment of the accelerator amounts to less than 1 hour a week of your billable time. And that's nothing for the ability to win your time back, create more freedom, and start growing a firm that you can rely on year upon year upon year for years in the future. The reality is that law firm owners don't only recover 1 hour a week, they 2, 3, or even 5 times their revenue and profit in a really short period of time, just like the criminal lawyer I was talking about before. This firm has partners, and as a leadership team, they didn't know how to streamline their firm, and while they were growing the business. In 6 months, they experienced a 22% increase in matters and a 32% increase in revenue. Plus, they started relying on data as a team so that they could make really clear decisions, and it wasn't about the point of view of the partners. They also now know what each of their roles are so they don't cross over, and it's just brought them a heap of clarity. This practitioner doubled her revenue in the first 6 months. Her marketing became next level, and she has an incredible brand authority in her space. And the results really do speak for themselves. And this law firm owner felt like their firm was running their life, everything centered around the law firm. They didn't know where to start, and they felt super overwhelmed. After joining the program, he gained so much clarity on goals and the systems for the business. Now they're feeling in control, lighter, and more confident in running their law firm. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the link for me, and I'm happy to answer them for you. I've got some commonly asked questions that we get asked all the time, but ultimately, you've got nothing to lose to jump on a growth call with one of my team. And they will actually map out for you where you're at and work out really what's holding you back for achieving the dreams that you have for your law firm. From there, if you're a good fit for the program, we put you into a further strategy call with my team. And at that point, we can onboard you if you want to. But initially, there's no sales call or anything like that. We don't even offer you the program in that first call. So jump on a call to see how you can move your law firm forward. If you like what we teach you on the call, then you can take it away, or you can continue to the next call with us. So, building and scaling a law firm that no longer relies on you does take a fair amount of time. It's not going to happen next month. And we say that you need to be in our program for at least 12 months so that you've got a strong foundation and the right tools and the proven framework so that you've got that sustainable growth. By the end of the program, you will have implemented some key systems and processes so that you can start scaling your firm with confidence. But a lot of law firm owners that we onboard stay longer than 12 months because there's so much more to growing a law firm and they can keep implementing while they're in the program. So we have coaching on the program every single Thursday morning. And so it's 1 hour a week that you need to set aside to be on the calls. And then I would say probably 1 extra hour a week to implement some strategies. So you need to be thinking that you need to be working on your business for 2 hours a week. There are lots of law firm owners in the program from all over the country. And the way that we work it is that you're split off into your revenue streams so that you're masterminding with people that are at your level or above your level. And so that your coach can specifically work with you. If you can't attend, some of the sessions are recorded, not all of them, but most of them, and you're able to rewatch them or listen to them in the car. And you are always given your next best steps. So we always like to make sure you've got next best steps so that you're working on the business and it's moving forward each time. The accelerator program is designed for group coaching because with group coaching, you get delivered far greater value than one-on-one coaching alone. In a group setting, you don't just learn from your coach, you also gain insights from other law firms and what they are successfully implementing and what strategies worked for them. This is a massive benefit to you because you're getting real world examples from firms that are at different growth stages. And you're also seeing proven solutions to challenges that you might not have faced yet. Having a supportive network of peers who understand exactly what you're building and where you're heading is invaluable. One of the standout things that the lawyer who I had lunch with last week, who's been on my program for nearly 2 years, she just cannot believe how much value she's got from being part of a group and making friends with law firm owners all around the country. It's made a massive difference for her. Success, every law firm is different, and it totally depends on your goals, your commitment, and also your willingness to implement what we teach you and what you learn. Whilst we don't promise overnight results, most firms are fully engaged with the program. Most firms that are fully engaged see huge results quite quickly. The ones who don't show up don't see the results. It's similar to a gym membership. If you're not going to show up, you're probably not going to get a result. So success depends on you and your willingness to participate. You can't join anytime. Right now, we've only got 8 spots available in Accelerator. So if you want one of those spots, you need to jump on a growth call. We onboard everyone with a one-on-one session. I keep you accountable and we help you to make serious momentum quickly. So it is limited because I like to give everyone a lot of attention as they're being onboarded. So I can't take lots of people, only 8 this month. So if you're interested in joining, you need to secure a growth call. And yes, it is tax deductible. This is business coaching for you to improve your business. So if you are in, grab a spot on a call, and we would love to talk to you about how we can help you grow your law firm. If you're on the fence, you really have 2 choices: do nothing and keep doing what you've always done. Tomorrow looks just like today. If you're feeling burnt out and stressed out and overworked, you're going to stay stuck in that cycle with a firm that relies on you. It is doable and you can do it this way, but why do that when you've got the other option, which is to take action, commit to building a firm that no longer depends on you. And just like the other law firm owners who have joined before you, you start implementing the systems and strategies, the team structure that frees you up on the day to day. What does that look like? You finally get out of the grind. Your firm grows in a sustainable way and it's more profitable. Your team culture thrives. You get your time back for you and your family, and you actually get to do the work that you enjoy. So I would love to have you join us on a call. That would be so amazing. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sticking around, even though we had some tech issues early on. And I can't wait to work with you and help you to build a firm that actually gives you profit and freedom and growth. Bye, everybody.